Welcome back everyone to theCUBE's live coverage here in Paris, France. I'm John Furrier, host of theCUBE, 2 days of wall-to-wall coverage. Who's Who is here. It's an international global event as scale of AI comes together with the builders, the entrepreneurs, and the leaders formulating their plans to continue to create value, but also we're starting to see value extraction, clear lines of sight into the economics of AI, and of course sovereignty, many more conversations. All the top people are here. Robert Brooks is part of the founding team at Lambda. Very, very successful, growing, fast-growing company in high demand. Robert, great to see you. Thanks for coming on theCUBE.
Thanks for having me, John.
So, it's good to be popular. You know, one of the cool kids that got GPUs, what do you need? In all seriousness, we have like a massive tsunami of demand. You guys are hitting a demand curve, straight vertical S curve. Clearly everyone knows that. Power is constrained, AI and blockchain bounded by power. That's the scarce resource. It's causing all kinds of disruptions and enablement. Country geopolitical relationships to architecture around how I build my data centers or AI factories, whatever you want to call it. Essentially supercomputing centers are being built and architected, by the way, not just, it's not rack and stack, this is like a whole nother level. Service providers that are coming out, the new brands like Lambda emerging. And what I love about your company is that in every transition or wave, new brands emerge. Yahoo, search engine, find your, Google. And you got the iPhone, App Store creates massive brands. So in all aspects, there's 1,000 flowers bloom, but you guys are in the category where it's massive growth. So give us a quick update. We're at a midpoint right now, we're in Paris, so two things. Update, midpoint year for Lambda, and then Paris, what's the vibe here? What are you doing here?
Yeah, of course. So again, thanks for having me. We are here in Paris. The Seine, I like to do that play on words, related to the Seine River. But ultimately, we're at a really good inflection point for our business. We've historically thought about our business in terms of megawatts, 50 to 100 megawatt data centers. We're now entering the world and we start to think about our business in terms of gigawatts. And that's Lambda's next entrance. That's why we're being referred to as the Superintelligence Cloud today. And we are a global cloud that serves customers all over the world, have a large presence within Europe with our public cloud, and ultimately it's good to be close to our users, it's good to be here with the industry.
Yeah, I love the Superintelligence Cloud. I mean, first of all, AGI is a great conversation, it's all kind of like the forward thinking, but we're starting to see, we're talking about superintelligence in years, not decades, right? So, Eric Schmidt said on stage, 6 years, Silicon Valley people are more optimistic, 3 years. It doesn't matter, it's fast. 6 years is like college for me. Okay, okay, maybe 4. But in all seriousness, this is really happening fast, and how are you guys handling it? Because you're serving a lot of customers, this huge demand. Take us through on what's happening with you guys right now. What's some of the makeup of the deals you're doing? What's the company doing to service those deals? How are you expanding the footprint? It's like the scene in Star Trek. Scotty, I need more power. Literally, more power, horsepower, but also physical power.
Yeah, of course. So Lambda is our brand is really associated with our large public cloud, and that's who we were and still are today, but it only represents 1/5 of our revenue. And I think the secret out there that hasn't been told and maybe is being told right now is that 4/5 of our revenue is really related to serving large superintelligence AI labs and hyperscalers. And we're going to be talking a lot more about this as time goes on, but ultimately we're in a position to be speaking in, again, hundreds of megawatts to gigawatts, and it's not just about hiring a team to deploy these types of GPU clusters and rack and stack, to your point. These are armies of people, not AI agents, that have to stack these things up and make sure that they run when you're operating clusters at this type of scale. So for us, the deal making, the deal sizes have gotten bigger. We've just closed on a 10-figure contract. We deploy that this year in the form of 10,000 GB300s handed off to a customer in 2025.
Super customer.
Yeah, super customer, right? And so ultimately we're really excited about that in our position in the industry.
I'm just doing my math in my head, 10 figure, okay. I think you bring up a good point. I want to, if you don't mind, go a little further on the Superintelligence Cloud direction. One of the things that's obvious from the current, just look in the past couple months and in the news, all the headlines about Meta offering the $100 million one-year deal. Actually, information copied theCUBE. I call them athletes. I think, Frank, we called tech athletes 16 years ago. You're truly seeing a lot of tech athletes out there with these kind of like free agency contracts. But what it speaks to me, and I want to get your thoughts on this, it's a new categorical shift that's a first generation development of your world, which is the producers of AI are centers of excellence in the sense of there's a lot amount of intellectual capital, almost like a university vibe. And the companies have that same thing. I went to Brown, I went to Stanford, I went to Northeastern. Like, I mean, depending on what school you go to, you are in that, quote, club. It feels a lot like college. But they're producing massive amounts of value, and they're fueling the models, they're fueling the acceleration, and they're doing hardcore computer science. This is where the action is. Okay, not just OpenAI, it's the people behind OpenAI. So talk about that time. Did I get that right?
So computer science is one aspect of it, but the people that are signing $100 million offers are experts in math, right? So why is Lambda named Lambda? It's after lambda calculus, functional calculus. So the story about machine learning engineers is, yes, they can maybe write a little bit of code, but you would never employ them just to write code. These are folks that are experts in math, and these are the folks that are signing $100 million bonuses. So it's the resurgence of the mathlete, right? That's signing bigger deals than Lionel Messi. I mean, that's a fantastic place to be, but ultimately for us, we see a world in which these types of people need tools to ultimately build superintelligence. That tool's in the form of compute, but superintelligence for us, I think, is a much better definition than AGI and ASI. For me, it's just it's a better cognitive ability than a human in a particular place, whether that's social or scientific.
What's your thoughts on this? Because first of all, do you agree it's a new category of like research as a, I won't say product, but as almost a virtual entity? So that's one. Is that's happening? Or not happening? What do you think?
Well, there's two applications that I see. One is more in the theoretical. There are people that are adopting current tools, which I would define as superintelligence today, aka the chatbots that exist from OpenAI and Anthropic, to crack math problems that have historically not been able to be worked on. They were just too complex. And we are making inroads to those mathematical problems that have never been done before, and those models are helping us do that. That's one area that's a little bit more playful. On the realistic side, with drug discovery, we won NVIDIA's Healthcare Partner of the Year in 2025. We have a ton of drug discovery companies that are using our platform, and those folks are able to use the drug discovery tools with the AI models to get to just a lot more tests faster and ultimately to a curable disease much faster. I mean, that application is the greatest application I can possibly think of.
It's interesting, you solve the math problems that get put into the models to do better models. So this is a nice little research flywheel. So I was talking to someone here in Paris, I won't say their name or reveal the gender, but this person said there's a real conflict right now in AI between product-led companies and research. And you have an appetite for the alphas, I call them alpha, engineers or math folks, what do you want to call them alphas. They're leaning, they want more research because they know there's more research to be done, and they don't want to just get something out and sell their company and then be in the cadence of let's get ship that product. Are you seeing that psychologically happening? Because we're seeing, again, this research class emerge as not just academic. I mean, it's academic in the sense of it's research, but it's really robust. I mean, if you're in that market, you're sinking your teeth into some serious hard problems. That's going to attract the best talent. Why wouldn't? I mean, people want to work on hard problems.
I mean, I think people easily forget that OpenAI, like a year and a half or 2 years ago, launched Laundry Buddy. It was like this little app that helped you do your laundry, and everybody's like, what the hell is going on right now? And that's kind of when Ilya Sutskever started to trend towards leaving OpenAI because he wanted to focus more on research and less product. And I think that played out in that particular scenario. Do you want to launch Laundry Buddy? No. Do you want to focus on safe superintelligence? Yes. And that's why he had to go start his own company to do that. So there's a dynamic.
It's a nice balance. Well, it's a balance. It's needed on both. Again, that's why I think the flywheel is interesting because the research on the math side gets better, only makes the models better. Thanks to what you guys do. All right, talk about what you guys are doing with the Superintelligence Cloud. You got a nice customer base on these big research and big clients. Drug discovery, life science is booming. Automotive. Hot right now, or kind of good?
Automotive is hot, financial services is hot, bio is hot. drug discovery. That's where we're focused a lot on. Robotics has had a nice little kickoff. We're sort of waiting for that next second wave on our side. So, we'll talk in the future a little bit about some big robotics customers we've signed in the past 2 quarters.
Yeah.
But ultimately, that's where we see a lot of the compute and power and research and math going into. And for us, we're really focused on letting those customers get to market a lot faster. That's the name of the game right now.
Just dial up some compute and GPUs.
Yeah, research does become the model, does become the product.
It's interesting, it's fun to cover the AI because I've been covering HPC, high performance computing since it's been around, and cloud comes in, it looks a little bit HPC, but truly wasn't.
Right.
And then the high performance computing market's been like, I got a better server. It's like inch by inch, it progresses, it's kind of boring, and then all of a sudden, boom.
Right.
Supercomputing is actually here.
Yes.
It doesn't look like what it was before, but all those people dreaming up and working on the hard problems were just constrained by having the horsepower.
Right.
And now it's unleashed, it's like freedom.
Yeah.
I can now go faster, and so that's a huge dynamic. What's your thoughts on that, and how has that played out?
So I'm really glad you brought that up. A CEO of a company called OpenPipe recently tweeted out that within Lambda's one-click cluster, which is essentially on-demand high-performance clusters, you don't have to talk to a single human being to get access to these clusters. You can get 1,500 B200s and not talk to a single person to get them. That is more computing power than the largest supercomputer in 2021. And it's available online at your fingertips, swipe of a credit card.
Yeah.
So this is how fast we're moving.
Yeah.
And the democratization of access, I think, is the most important part where Lambda's solving that.
I'm so old, when I was in college, you had 30 minutes on the mini computer. Time's up, I didn't compile, save. It's like, but that's gone.
That's gone.
This notion of waiting in line, waiting for my turn, hours, go home, see it in 2 days, is over. That's literally was 2 years ago, maybe 3 years ago.
Yeah.
If Boeing wanted to do a simulation on a wing design, they would have to wait literally days. This is now gone. Okay, so now let's fast forward. What's the long-term vision? You guys have an operating system vision, which I love.
Yeah.
This is where you guys are looking at, now I'm guessing here, tell me if I got this right, collective intelligence of all the data you got and are serving into some sort of neural fabric operating system.
Yeah.
Okay, explain what this is.
So this is the master plan of Lambda. We've built this entire massive fleet of GPUs. By the end of the decade, we'll have well over 1 million GPUs deployed. Eventually, those are all sold to customers in contracts, whether they're 3-year contracts or 5-year contracts, but eventually those contracts end. What happens to that compute? We're going to use it. Lambda. So we're actually founded by machine learning engineers. We have a machine learning team. We're published at all the largest machine learning conferences in the world, and we intend to make use of all these GPUs for our own research and our own products. We're talking publicly today about Neural OS, Neural Operating System. We believe in a world in which you will be fundamentally interacting with neural networks in your operating system will be built like that. You will no longer need to procure SaaS from other vendors to do things. You will fully control the application, and you will create it yourself, and it may be for a short-term need, it may be for a long-term need, but ultimately it's prompted in your existence. Now this feels like a toy today, it should, but we believe that that's the future of Neural OS, is going to be prompting softwares into existence, you having full control of it, no longer needing to rely on other vendors for that SaaS application, and then being able to do things we haven't thought of. So today it's a simple messenger app, maybe tomorrow it's a creativity tool that we can collaborate on.
Or something that fits a perfect use case of a workflow or a product.
Right.
So when you say codifying prompt codes, are you referring to say, I want to rebuild Salesforce, or will vendors telegraph their agents to have code talk to code? Is it replacing existing, or is that more of just if they don't step up to the plate? I mean, what would be the model? I mean, if I had the CUBE app, right, that was built by a supercomputer, say, hey, I'm going to give you access to codify at will, almost like a marketplace store.
Yeah.
Is that the vision? I mean, what's the vision of the interaction and partnership? Or is it just going to build it from scratch?
I think in the year 2025, if you set out to build a SaaS application for a very niche thing, and you forced a user through your model and your security, it's unclear if that'll be a successful business. That would have been a successful business in 2015.
Yeah.
I don't know if it'll be a successful business in 2025. I'm pretty sure it will not be a successful business in 2035. And so this is the world we're building towards, and it is disruption, which is sometimes an uneasy word to hear, but ultimately it's the way that we move as a species, and we believe that a neural operating system leveraging neural networks to create software in your own design, and not having to rely on anyone else
or
is
environment preferences, pre-existing stuff you have, kind of customize on the fly. I mean, it's interesting, you talk about like a software, you had general purpose software where you just get it out of the box, shrink wrapped, and you plug it in and you use it. Then you had SaaS, and onboarding was fill out those forms. It kind of gets personalized, but you still have to onboard. What you're talking about is auto onboarding. Superintelligence automatically onboards it on your behalf.
Correct.
That's what you're getting at.
Yes.
It's almost provisioning on the fly.
Correct.
Either at runtime or at design time.
Yeah. And under that will be a bunch of GPUs making sure that you can actually build these applications in real time. And today, again, it might be a simple messenger app, but tomorrow it could be a collaboration tool within CAD where you and I can design something that's going to outer space, and maybe we need it to be a certain custom way, and maybe certain existing tools don't use it that way, but I can prompt it into existence. All
right, take me through the roadmap on that. We're riffing here, we're on the whiteboard. What's the first building block for the Neural OS?
Yeah. So it exists with like a simple sort of, almost Linux kernel, probably a Linux kernel. And ultimately it gets to a point, we've done some demos today where there's two Neural OS computers that are owned by two different people, and they have a tunnel to each other that we can create, and we can do certain things between those computers. Right now, we just want to do encrypted chat. Maybe we don't trust what Meta's telling us. Maybe we don't trust what other apps are telling us, that it is actually encrypted. There is no backdoors. This way we can verify that these two applications are built on that technology, and it is ensured
truly
encrypted technology.
Yeah, exactly, not fake encrypted or just, and that's true. I mean, people are nervous. They want to be confident. All right, talk about the power, bounded by power discussion, because energy is a huge factor. You guys are on the gigawatt plan. What does that look like? What are you guys doing at Lambda to kind of continue to maximize the power you have available, and what happens if there's constraints?
Yes, I'd say we're in a privileged position because the company's been around since 2012, so we've seen the wave coming, and we made decisions in the early 2020s to allow us to be able to sit on multiple gigawatts towards the latter half of this decade. And there's not many companies that can be in that position because they're making those decisions today. And those decisions today are forced to be reconciled in the 2030s, whereas we've made decisions much earlier than other people, and so we're in a privileged position in that sense.
That's called option pricing. So when you made those bets, obviously that's a good call. Honestly. I mean, you guys saw, but you guys were in the infrastructure business. So and you were doing the Bitcoin mining, right?
We were not on the we were never on the crypto side. We did on-premise infrastructure, and then we moved to be a cloud company.
Got it. If you were already in the games, procuring, you saw that the CapEx facilities, classic real estate investment trust game was going to go value add, and you went after and procured, and not sat on, but have.
We have, so power is a big thing. I don't think it's going to be, there's not a world in which, nuclear reactors come online for a good amount of time that's going to solve this in a big way. I believe that's the next wave, but that's a 2030 wave.
Do you think 2030s, will we see any nuclear of any kind?
With a cloud like ours and our competitors, that's when it's going to meaningfully happen. Maybe with like a Microsoft or some of these folks that invested in the 3 Mile Island, like it'll be a little bit faster for them.
Yeah, and we saw some Chinese reports about that foolproof nuclear. Yeah, I believe that.
Yeah, it's a different scale right now. So we're lucky to be sitting on roughly a lot of megawatts in America today because we made those decisions early on in the decade.
Robert, what's your view on and vision around, okay, you have to make an assumption, well I guess, let me rephrase, what's your bet going forward? Because you got the power, sitting on some good power, that's going to give you some headroom, and you also got other assumptions. NVIDIA is going to create better products. They got the 5-year roadmap, you guys are working closely with them. Other innovations are coming, the combinations of maybe even using retro H100s, which is now retro NVIDIA. So there's other leverage points. As architects and infrastructure engineers, how are you guys thinking about the hardware-software combination of, okay, we can actually squeeze more value out of existing gear, product, given the architecture you're going after, you're basically building a data center is a computer, basically. So, okay, I'm sure there's going to be some innovation around all kinds of design criteria. What are you guys thinking around that? Because you're going to get the latest and greatest, that's going to give you the advantage, but can you write some software to make the other stuff work too? Run policy, price performance-based configurations?
Yeah. So we're one of the only clouds, I mean, every single one of our competitors has gone multi-chip. And they've gone beyond the NVIDIA ecosystem. We've decided to stay in that ecosystem, and I think that's a really unique bet for us.
Ecosystem.
Yeah. So we literally bleed green. I mean, that's what we talk about. We believe in that technology. We believe that running GPU clusters and the millions of operations that can currently have to go right to make that cluster run is already a hard enough problem, which is why the CUDAs and the NVIDIA GPUs of the world solve it for us. But ultimately, we think that there is leverage, to your point, in developing software for distributed inference that allows us to get to a point where there's some gains that can be had on older architectures like H100, which, it's so funny that it's an older archecture.
Yeah, I know,
to your point,
it was kind of a
2023, it came in mass. But it is an older architecture.
It's kind of a joke, but it's not, no, but it's true. I mean, it's
an older architecture.
It's a modern legacy.
H100s, H200s, B200s, we have a lot of those available online, but we're already selling GB300s that are coming online next quarter. So distributed inference, there's a lot that we can do there in order to maximize the amount of tokens that are coming through these large clusters to serve an even wider array of OpenAI or Anthropic's revenue. I mean, they're projecting what? 80 billion, 100 billion
you guys
in revenue by the end of the decade?
You guys are a poster child for Jensen's AI factory.
Yes.
You guys are an AI factory.
Yeah, we're called the Superintelligence Cloud. That's our headline. The byline is gigawatt scale AI factories for training and inference.
Yeah.
So we're there.
All right, talk about the second half. We're at the midpoint of 2025. It feels like a whole year has passed this year. So much has happened. A lot of action. What's on the agenda? What's your focus? What are you optimizing for?
So we're going to be doing some large announcements just based on customer wins that we've had. More recently, we talked about how ServiceNow leveraged our one-click cluster product to train a model called April 5B. It's a really small model, but it's really efficient. They then hosted that model on Lambda Chat. So we have this full circle AI development lifecycle cloud that we're offering, and companies like ServiceNow are adopting it, which is great. You're going to see more enterprises and AI labs talking about that. My
final question is a little bit more of a fun one for you since you're here, since you're a mixture of experts on theCUBE, because we have our own little cloud that's got some vector embeds and search. I was on stage here doing a little ad lib before Daniel Denies came on, and I said, I was asked the question how AI is going to affect the content business, and I said bluntly, media as we know it will be dead in 3 years. The quote was, as we know it, which means that AI will do a lot of the content, be super intelligent, cube if you will. But I said that humans will still be involved in original, authentic, trusted content, and I believe that's going to be true. Of course it's going to happen. I think that's clear prediction. But then I said, okay, let's just say I wanted to rule the media world. I would need to have a stockpile of GPUs, because if everything's available, the only advantage is scale. So the question to you is, well, that's a little narrative, little kind of set the table. How does a poor guy like me get access to all the big gear from you? So like, how does the little guy doesn't have the big $100 million checks? Yeah. Do I stand in line? Do I cut a deal? Because I think you're going to start to see a tsunami, or do I have to wait for the price performance to get democratized? I mean, it's a serious question, because a lot of people think, okay, there's an arms race, or I have to partner, or I have to buy. No, maybe rent. So I mean, what's your view on that? Because I think you're going to see that demand phase 2 of your journey when you guys are already escape velocity, public and all that good stuff, winning. There's going to be that wave 2 of customers. Yeah. So I agree that authenticity is needed. Scale is needed, taste and curation is needed, and I think that's where folks like yourself come in, right? You can have a whole bunch of AI slop, but they need someone to trust, right? That's going to vet through that slop, okay? So I still think that there's absolutely, taste is going to be the biggest differentiator for all of this. I can tell when something's AI generated, whether it's text or image, right? I've been in the industry long enough. It's going to take other people to identify, Boy, John's grammar got really good. Right? He uses a lot of M dashes. It's got a dash in there. That's too good English. But to answer your question on scale, like, we have an inference API available today.
and you don't even have to worry about the GPUs. It's all sort of abstracted away from you. It's the lowest cost inference API in the world. It has obviously thousands of GPUs behind it, but you're computing in terms of pennies when you're leveraging that open source inference API from Lambda. And so you can leverage that as much as you possibly need for your work.
So I innovate on the software side. I don't necessarily have to get a stockpile of GPUs and run the biggest monster GPU
it's just an API
media cloud.
It's just an API call, yeah.
Yeah, and you have a lot of media customers out there?
We do, yeah. And it's much more in the form of like generative image and video today. Not necessarily text-based, because there still needs to be a source of truth associated with that. But ultimately, in your business, an API can be leveraged.
Yeah, I know I got to go, but real quick, Edge, computer vision, since you brought up vision, that's a huge generator of value.
Yes.
Massive data corpus coming in. We're seeing software manage that, but the Edge devices will be bringing in a lot. Thoughts on that? Directions, where are we? Is it coming in fast and furious? Is it just developing?
Yeah. I mean, Lambda actually, our founder and CEO sold a company to Apple before this. That company is the reason why when you go into your Photos app and you search for dog, it shows the pictures of dog. That was the software that they were working on in 2012, leveraging local neural networks that were running on the iPhone at that time. Right? Think of how powerful our iPhones or Androids are today. And ultimately, I think that's where the edge play is in my mind. My M4 Mac right now is just like outrageously powerful. I think the next iPhone's going to show that too.
All right. Robert, great to have you on. Congratulations. Great to talk with Lambda. You guys are doing great. And congratulations on the success. There's more to come. It's the beginning.
We appreciate
As they say, don't fall off the rocket ship. And they got a rocket ship. Hold on tight. All right. This is the enablement of the big cloud providers, the big hyperscalers, the new hyperscalers. Infrastructure in the AI side is exploding in value, enabling use cases. And that data layer comes in, software, inference APIs. As the builders adjust their tools, you're going to see a lot more value. That's a big story coming here out of Paris on theCUBE. I'm John Furrier. Thanks for watching.